So speaking with Robert Vogel, and before we left, we were talking about some of the accessories that he produces. I want to talk about your sights.
Sure.
How important are sights on a gun? Is it something that you notice is largely undervalued or overvalued in the community when it comes to being able to shoot well?
I think it's definitely undervalued. It's second only to the trigger. The trigger is number one, but the sights are very important. And even before I would say what's important about them, it's like anything else. I think the better of a shooter somebody is, the more skilled they are, the more they're going to notice.
Gotcha. You know? Okay.
The lower of a level somebody is, I mean, some beginner, they're not gonna be able to tell the difference between a lot of that, you know. But my sights are designed a lot for speed, the balance of accuracy and speed. So most people know what the sights on a pistol look like, a notch and post type sight. You got the front sight, you got the rear notch, you put the front sight in the rear notch, and that's your sight. On mine, and there's some others similar, but the rear notch, it's very large, it's very wide, and it's also very deep. And so therefore, when you look at the sight picture, there's a lot more daylight and there's a lot more space around the front sight.
Okay.
What that equates to is being able to see those sights faster at speed. When we're shooting 4, 5, 6 shots even in a single second, most people can actually pull the trigger. A quarter-second split, most people can actually do that. A quarter-second split is 5 shots in 1 second when you measure from the first to the last. Better guys shoot maybe a little faster. Shooting that fast is one thing. Being able to actually see that front sight coming back and forth at that kind of speed is a whole nother thing. So it makes a big, big difference when it comes to that. For me, trying to see that sight with, say, mine versus the stock Glock sights, it's a night and day difference.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's really what it comes down to, is being able to call your shot and see your safe. You can look at the target and point shoot and get lucky a lot, but you're not going to be as consistent.
That's what I was going to ask you about, because that's what I tend to do. If I'm shooting a string of fire really fast, about third, fourth shot, I'm point shooting. That's just flat out. Now, and I think I usually have a hard time tracking that sight. Now, I'm wondering if it's more so due to a lack of just concentration on my part, or is there a point where you kind of like, say, for instance, somebody who's used to driving really fast, they think they actually see things they start to see things a little bit going a lot slower in their minds than it actually is happening. Is that the same? You see that happening?
I think it has a lot to do with that. I mean, it has a lot to do with a lot of things, especially like with the grip and how much the gun is moving in the first place. But I always use the analogy of, what helps you do better is seeing faster, not better. Having 20/20 vision or 20/15 vision, that doesn't necessarily make you any better at the stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's being able to see faster. Well, the only way I think we can see faster is by looking at something that is very hard to see because it's moving so fast. But when you look at that long enough and hard enough, you actually start to see more of it. It's like a Major League Baseball player seeing the seams on a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah.
I don't think most people can see that really. They see a blur of white in front of their face. But because those guys have looked at that thousands and thousands of times over years, they actually are able to see that faster. I think it's the same thing with shooting. You can have guys that have shot for a long time, but if they've not shot at speed and run the gun a lot at speed at that kind of, that fast, they're going to have trouble. Even if they're doing everything else perfect, they're going to have trouble doing that. Now, even that being said, it's still a balance. I mean, because it greatly depends on the target, the distance, the difficulty level. Because believe me, I mean, I have a target focus or point shoot on many targets. It's just, you got to have a sense of when you can get away with that and when you can't. And there's even a lot of in-betweens too. So but yeah, the whole speed of vision is definitely a huge thing, huge aspect of it.
I actually never thought about it like that, but yeah. So now, you were also on a season of Top Shot. Did you get to shoot anything interesting?
It was a guest.
You were a guest. Okay, gotcha. So explain the difference for people who don't understand. You were on the shot as an expert. What does that mean?
Well, it's actually, I think, a lot better as an expert. It's a long story, which I don't have time to tell, but I almost got on the first season as a contestant. I was out there in the tryouts, and I did well in the shooting part. I did really good in that part, but whatever reason, I didn't get picked for the first season. But I came back for the fourth season. What's that?
You weren't picking fights with people.
I questioned some things there. Like I say, it's a whole story to that. But whatever. It was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as an expert was better, I think, because you're not competing, so it was cool. I got to go in there, and actually, obviously knew some of the people on the show. I think Gabby was on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd met her before. But no, it was pretty laid back. I was just there for a day or 2 days. Okay. Obviously, you do the thing with both teams, and then you have a training session with the 2 guys that are going into elimination, and go from there. But it was I gotta look at the inside of it, obviously, and the filming aspect and all that. And then I did another Top Guns thing with Colby, and I got to spend a lot of time with Colby, and so it was good. It was something. Top Shot in general. Not to put it down at all.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
It was a show made. It was not a show made for your average shooter. It was a show made for your average person. There's a huge difference, and of course that's what they have to do. So, we coming in there, because it was put to us in the beginning, like, this is going to be a real competition between the very best guys in different disciplines. And we get in there and find out it's not exactly that, but I totally get it now. I'm accepting of it. But it took me kind of going through that to learn, to see that.
More focus on the entertainment side of things, more so than
and I guess to get people to watch it, understandable.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. Really quick before we go, got about 30 seconds. What do you have? What are you working on now?
Well, I'm just getting ready for the coming season. Really getting a lot of classes on the books, and going to go out and have another year. I've had 5 pretty successful years since I left, and looking to do another one. Awesome.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you took time out to speak with me today. Learned actually quite a bit.
Thanks for having me, invite me, and really thank you for all you do. I watched a lot of your videos, and what we need, a lot of that out there for sure.
Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it. All right, you have a good one, Robert.
Okay, thank you. You too.
That was another awesome episode of Seeing Live. I'm Colion Noir, and be sure to join us again tomorrow, where we'll have our guest, Dan Bagenio and Maj Toure.